Bonnie, Bonnie, do you want me to make you the host?
It don't matter. Sorry, I slid in at the last minute from Forsyth. So
you sure did.
Hello, Bonnie.
Good morning.
Let me note that. 10:01, Bonnie.
Hey, watch it.
Hey guys. Hey guys, thanks for coming to our Wednesday call where we share info that we all need to know. And today we have Mr. Glenn Carver. He's going to be our main vocalist. Bonnie Lilac will be playing the keys, and I will be singing harmony in the background. And Glenn is going to teach us what we need to know about how money works and are we being suckered by banks. And with that said, Mr. Glenn, the floor is yours, my friend.
I'm honored to be on your call. Really appreciate you. And I know EXP is doing some amazing cutting edge things. So really happy to be with you this morning and talk a little bit about how money works at a high level. And if this conversation resonates, we'll set up a full-blown online class in the near future. Does that make sense? Is that a possibility?
We definitely want to do that because I want to share it. I want to create these where people can share it to other people because we all need to know this stuff. I believe we all do better when we know better, but we can't do better until we know better. So we have to tap into these experts, such as yourself, to share the systems that work best for us. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of nerd out on this stuff. My degree is in real estate finance and 6 functions of a dollar and stuff like that. I think about it all the time. So I guess you're going to share some of that with us, right?
Sure. Yeah. As a matter of fact, well, we have that in common. I was a real estate and finance major, and what we're going to do is this morning, we'll just talk high level about this incredible little book that two of my business partners wrote, and it's called "How Money Works: Stop Being a Sucker." And what's amazing about this book and why I'm so passionate about it and passionate about our business is, even though I was a finance major at UGA, there are some basic principles in this book that I didn't learn in business school, like the rule of 72, just slightly important. And it's amazing whenever I'm in a live room and I ask people by a show of hands, how many of you have ever even heard of the rule of 72? I don't care how many people are in the class, 1 or 2 people have heard of it. And to me, it's borderline criminal. And I'm not going to get in my soapbox and talk about conspiracy theory, but I'll just pose.
Oh man, that's going to make this call good. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let me just pose the question. And I just saw Cody grin.
Oh, we lost your audio.
We still can't hear you.
That's what happens, dude, when you start talking conspiracy theory in this country. They hear you.
Conspiracy got brought up. So
yeah, conspiracy. Who shot JFK? Bam, bam, bam. We still can't hear you. Maybe sign off and come back on. Or something got unplugged or speaker or mic got turned off or something. Don't worry, I can edit this part out. Bobby Ditmore, did you run this morning?
I just walked back in the door.
Good for you, man. What day is it?
72.
Golly, man. I am so proud of you, dude.
Thank you, sir.
Hats off to you.
Maybe we better not talk about that conspiracy theory. All right.
Let's see if his microphone works. I don't even see him.
Yeah, he's back and he's still nothing.
Well.
Technology is your friend until it ain't your friend.
Right. Start talking about how the banks are suckering us and look at us. Shut down.
Damn government. That's what it is.
He's like, hang on. Let me
get your mic and plug it in.
Yeah. Hey, this is a little bit off topic, but since we have a minute, I'm starting up some of the interviews I was doing again. Tomorrow, I will be having Angela Fazio.
Oh, yeah.
That should be a real good one. For anyone who doesn't know her and Chuck, they had the largest independent brokerage in the world. They had, was it 900 agents?
Yeah, just under 900 agents. And then they in Vegas. And I think he built a new one too. I think he built another office where they had something like, I don't know, I want to say 12,000 square feet or maybe bigger, and a physical office space where he had a full-blown gym and stuff in it.
It was a strip mall like.
Yeah. Chuck is like a like mafia looking like kind of guy. He comes off super, super sweet, do anything for you. But he's one of those real rough sounding, voice and stuff.
And he is a large man. I was standing beside of him in Dallas. I was like, I'm going to have to eat my Wheaties.
Yeah, dude. Hey, now how did you land that interview?
I just reached out to her. She was all about it. She was good to go.
And it's amazing how many people in this company just help. They reach down to help, give the hand up, It's not like everywhere else where they, where you're training your competition or whatever. It's not like that here.
It's amazing to me that her and Chuck are that busy and yet still take the time to do things like that.
I saw this guy was telling me about Chuck. My camera fell. Was telling me about Chuck picking them up at their house, picking them up at the airport himself. So as soon as somebody go get them, cooked them a bunch of steak dinners. It was like 10 people that showed up. He's like, okay, well, I gotta go get store, get more food, whatever. Cooked everything for them. Super sweet guy. I think they still live in Vegas, don't they?
I think so.
Don't say that word again.
I tell you what, that's the black word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right.
Unbelievable. Well, I was asking the power question if if all the major financial institutions in this country or in the world can keep us just a little bit dumbed down, do they stand to make a little more money?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, positively. So the reason that I'm so passionate about this book and about what we do is I know that when you teach somebody how money works, you can literally change their lives. True or true?
True.
True. You can change their kids' lives. You can change their grandkids' lives. You can positively affect generational wealth. And this stuff just isn't taught in school. As a matter of fact, one of our slides, we'll put it up when we do the class. Only in 21 of 51 states is it mandated that one class on finances be taught in high school. And I think Governor DeSantis in Florida is doing a great job changing his state where it is mandated in all his counties. But on the flip side of the coin, in 50 of 50 states, sex education is taught. So the one thing that we don't need a class on to figure out is taught, but the one thing that we'll never figure out on our own, how money works, is not taught. So that's really the purpose of the book, How Money Works. It's gotten huge media exposure. My friends and business partners, Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold, have been on probably 200 morning news shows the past 2 years. And it's because the media loves the book. It's because the book is for regular middle-class, hardworking people like us. It's not for the Ivy League MBAs who have the trust funds. So as you can see, it's not a 500-page tome of financial jargon. It's literally 100 pages written in storybook fashion with colors and characters, so that an 8th grader can understand the principles of basic finance. And we did a class yesterday at a real estate office in Calhoun, and one of the agents read it last night in 1 hour. She read it in 1 hour, and now she's giving it to her kids. But so what this book teaches, and I'll just highlight some things, and we'll put together a class, full-blown class. Magic of compound interest. Albert Einstein, pretty bright guy, right? He changed the way we see the universe. He wrote the theory of relativity in 1905. He said the magic of compound interest is the most important mathematical discovery of all time. The time value of money, the high cost of waiting, the rule of 72. So those are the concepts that we teach in the class. And then we step into what we call the seven money milestones. And I don't care if you're a novice investor, or if you're Warren Buffett, you've got to go through all 7 of these money milestones if you want to. And I'll pose this in the form of a question. So let's say a very, very long time from now, 50 years, 100 years, we're laying on our deathbed, and we've worked tirelessly our whole adult lives, and we've accumulated X amount of this net worth, and you're laying on your deathbed. Do you want to pass that wealth onto your kids or onto the government?
My kids and grandkids.
Of course, your kids, your family. You don't want to pass that on anymore. You don't want to pass one penny more than you have to onto the government, because there's a death tax, there's an inheritance tax. There's so many, we get taxed at every turn. So these 7 money milestones teach us how to, let's just walk through these with you, give you a taste. So milestone number 1 is financial education. And that's what this book is all about, financial education, the book and the class. And I believe, I get a little passionate about this, I believe in every fiber of my being that every American should read this book and attend this class, and as young as possible. Their parents brought their kids, and I love that. These are concepts that 8th graders need to be learning. My 12-year-old son has got his own copy of the book, and he's reading it and highlighting it. So financial education is everything. And if you've got And I just throw this out there. If you've got an advisor that you like and trust and is doing a good job for you, then cherish that relationship, because it's often too rare. But if you don't have anybody in your life who can help you with these concepts, then we'd love to have a conversation with you. Love to be of assistance. So financial education is milestone number 1. Milestone number 2 is proper protection in the form of insurance. We insure everything, our houses, our cars, our health, but we don't typically, a lot of times we don't insure our income, such that if we get hit by the proverbial bus, there's some income for our families to live the lifestyle they're accustomed to. There are 2 types of insurance, ways to protect your life and your income. There's term insurance, which is temporary. You lease it, you rent it like you do a car, and it typically lasts for a term of 10, 20, 30 years. That's one type of insurance, and it's fantastic for people at the right times in their life. Flip side of the coin, you've got permanent insurance. That comes in the form of whole life and index universal life and variable universal life. There are a myriad of types of permanent insurance that last your whole life. You can't outlive them. And that's a phenomenal solution depending on where you are in your life. And sometimes a blend works. But oftentimes we see in the insurance industry, people will be, hardcore term or hardcore permanent, and they throw stones at each other. And we just think that's ridiculous. There are times in our life when we need one or the other, or sometimes both. But ultimately, you've got to protect your life and your income so that your family can continue to live the lifestyle they were accustomed to should something happen to us. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's, not rocket science, but it's just so important. Milestone number 3 is to have an emergency fund. We should have between 3 and 6 months of our living expenses saved up in case we have an emergency. And if I've said this once, I've said this 1,000 times. There are always these cosmic curveballs swirling over our head, and there can be good ones and there can be bad ones. I see some swirling over Bonnie's head right now. She doesn't even see them. They're good curveballs. The last August 15th, I got hit by a really bad curveball and spent 96 days in the ICU. Almost died twice, literally. Went code blue on October 16th. Had my heart stopped beating and was brought back to life, and just things you can't even imagine. I'm actually writing a book about this whole experience right now called The Advantage of Adversity. But my point is, there are always things happening beyond our control. You need to be prepared for emergency. So have 3 to 6 months of expenses somewhere liquid that you can access very quickly within a day or a week, so you can handle emergencies. And we facetiously say that a shoe sale at Macy's or a tool sale at Home Depot is not an emergency. This is reserved for real emergencies. Milestone number 4 is debt management. Debt can take you down, especially high interest consumer debt. The average American has $28,000 or $29,000 in high interest consumer debt, paying somewhere between 17 and 29% on credit cards. And I think the average rate on a credit card today is 18.03% or 18.3%. And that's it's hard to get ahead when you've got these barnacles on the boat called high interest consumer debt. So budget, use an app, whatever form you need that works for you, that you can help manage your debt and decrease that debt. It's a philosophy that says live below your mean. There's another philosophy from Robert Kiyosaki. I tend to like this one more. He says, increase your means. Go sell more houses, increase your means. So debt management is number 4. Milestone number 5 is increasing your cash flow. Well, how do you increase your cash flow? In our world, we sell more. We sell an extra house a month or a quarter or a year. Increase your cash flow. Watch your PMI insurance. Make sure your clients aren't paying that when they don't have to. A lot of ways that people increase their cash flow is through a side business or a side job, some kind of side hustle. I think 60 or 70% of Americans right now have a side gig where they're making a little extra money that they can save and invest. But somehow you've got to increase your cash flow, because cash flow is everything. And especially in a retirement, some people talk about assets. Well, assets are one thing, but what really makes a comfortable lifestyle in retirement is cash flow, is income that's coming in monthly. Unfortunately, pension plans are really a thing of the past. The old school, work for 40 years, get the gold watch and retire with an old school IBM pension. Those days are gone. We have to create our own personal pension plan. Only 19% of Americans right now have an old school pension. Those are typically people in the public sector. maybe first responders, God love them. All their income should be increased by 100% immediately. School teachers, firefighters, police officers, those pensions still exist, but for most of us, we've got to create our own, which really segues right into milestone number 6, which is building wealth. And that's what we get really excited about at our company, is teaching people how to build wealth. We can grow money 3 ways. The first way is where it's taxed now, it's taxed today or by year end. Examples of those are stocks and bonds, mutual funds, savings accounts, and certificates of deposits. You're going to have to pay taxes annually on your gains. Your money can also grow where it's tax deferred, where it's taxed later. And that's traditional IRAs, 401ks, 403bs in a school system, 457s, and if you're a first responder, and annuities. And then you can also grow money where it's taxed never. And that's an example is a Roth IRA. We call the Roth IRA the holy grail of investing, because you're not getting a tax deduction up front. You're investing with after-tax dollars, but that money is going to grow tax-free, and then you can access it tax-free forever.
What's it limited to now? $6,000 a year per person or something?
Yeah. Trade-offs. There are contribution limitations. 6,000 a year if you're under 50. 7,000 a year if you're over 50. If you're a couple, there are some limitations at like 200,000. So there are some rules. There are some limitations to how much you can put into a Roth IRA. But it's still a fantastic vehicle and a way to grow money on a tax-free basis. And then back to another one of the ultimate ways to grow money tax-free is through permanent life insurance. I don't like to talk about it, but one of the best ways to shelter money from taxes is through permanent life insurance, after-tax dollars, but it grows tax-free, and you can access it tax-free, and you can pass it on to your heirs tax-free. So just a fantastic way to grow money. And all things being equal, do you want to grow money that's taxed now, that's taxed later, or that's taxed never? I think never is ideal.
Well,
I think never is ideal. Here's a great little scenario.
Right, the nevers are limited, but then you also want to do things that are taxed now, because you don't want to pay taxes on an oak tree down the road. You want to pay taxes on an acorn, right?
Perfect analogy, Daniel, and you actually a perfect segue. Let's say that we're all farmers and we're in the field, and it's in the spring, and we're planting our seed, and Mr. IRS agent rolls up and he says, Daniel, would you like to pay? You have 2 options. You can pay taxes today on the weight of your seed, or you can wait until harvest time and you can pay taxes on the weight of your harvest. Which would you rather do?
Seed.
Seed, of course, the seed. It's just a no-brainer. But we haven't been taught. So if you put your money into a traditional IRA, a traditional 401k, yeah, you're getting a little tax deduction today, but you're positioning yourself to pay taxes on the harvest in the future, when taxes are inevitably going to be higher.
And you don't have as many deductions, maybe.
Right.
And
True.
the value of the dollar is less. So you get hit.
That's exactly. Hey, is there a little
both sides of the face?
That's right. Is there a little inflation in our country right now?
No, Joe. Joe says
Yeah.
no.
The highest in 40 years. So milestone 6 is building wealth. That's critical. We love that conversation. Then milestone number 7 is estate protection. This is where you have the documents in place such that your estate doesn't go through probate. You minimize your inheritance taxes. You pass as much money on to your family tax-free as possible, as opposed to giving it to what I call the government cheese. And 2 famous stories. One is Prince, and one is Aretha Franklin. Prince had an estate of $150 million. Aretha Franklin had an estate of $80 million. Neither one of them had a will, had any trusts in place. And to this day, there was a 60-minute special on Prince. And to this day, their families and friends are tearing each other apart in court over that money. And it was completely avoidable. So just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that you've got it positioned properly to avoid all the taxation. So the 7 money milestones are critical. We'll go through those in more detail when we do the class, but it's fantastic content. My 2 partners did a great job writing the book. I think we're doing a great service for Americans in teaching this material, and hope you can sense a little bit of passion about it in my voice.
2 ways that wealth generation is created, and really there's only 2 real ways: insurance and real estate. Those are really the two main vehicles that create generational wealth. Everything else has an ebb and flow that comes and goes through taxation or whatever, loss, things get lost. So depreciation, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So why don't we set up a class and we'll do the full hour long, and I think everybody would greatly appreciate it and learn from it and take away some major distinctions. And if there's anything we can do for you to help you build your wealth and position your money where it grows the best with the least amount of taxation and losses, then we're always available to help.
Glenn, can you share with us maybe next week, or today, it doesn't matter. Like Cody's probably the youngest guy on this call, right? When I was 28, I started investing in life insurance. I was investing in real estate, 18, 19. But if we could show the power of what being 30 years old, putting a tiny amount of money away that's taxed today, not later, how much wealth that could build over like his lifetime. It is generational changing. It really is. It's like, I would like us to maybe show that in some kind of way. I don't know if there's a graph. I don't know if there's something in the book. I don't know, but I want to drive home to people watching these videos two things: young investing, and then basically how you can protect yourself and become your own bank. So like if you want to, if you put something away after 4 or 5 years, then you can borrow that money without penalty, right? You borrow the money from these IULs, whatever they're called, and you just on an app, send yourself $40,000, you go buy a car, right? So then now you can pay yourself back interest on it, and now you are your own bank. Down payments on houses, things like that. I know Paige knows a lot about that kind of stuff. I want to drive those two themes home to people.
The power of starting young, and this is why we're so passionate about reaching kids as early as possible. If you want to build the proverbial $1 million nest egg, and that's probably conservative, you probably want to be positioned more around 2 million, because you're going to need 70% of your income post-retirement to live the same lifestyle. But let's just say that you want to build, round numbers, $1 million nest egg by the time you're 67. If you're 20 years old, you've only got to put away $113 a month. Anybody can do that. Anybody can put away $113 a month, especially at 20 years old, even if you have a part-time job. If you postpone and procrastinate 5 years, at age 25, you've got to put away $178 a month. Okay? If you really procrastinate and wait until you're 45 years old, you've got to put away $1,200 a month. And most people can't put away $1,200 a month. So that's what we call the high cost of waiting. The earlier you start, the less money you have to put away, because you have more times for your money to double over time. And that's where the rule of 72 comes into play. The higher rate of return you get on your money, the more often your money will double in your lifetime to build that that $1 million to $2 million nest egg that we've got to have. And here's another sobering reality: is longevity. Are we living shorter lives or longer lives?
Longer.
Longer, yeah. Most people today fear outliving their money more than they fear dying. Longevity risk is the #1 risk to our retirement. And there have been psychological studies done that people with guaranteed income, whether that's through an annuity or a pension or whatever, personal pension, however you set up your finances such that you have guaranteed lifetime income, those people are happier because they're less stressed out, because they know there's money coming in. So with only 19% of Americans having an old school pension, that leaves 81% who don't. Well, we like to show people how to create the guaranteed lifetime income stream.
Like grandpa's, remember people used to, they would retire and they'd have real money. They work at Ford or somewhere for 30 years or something, and they would be able to live off of it. And one of those reasons is they weren't as consumer driven as we are today. If you took, and I have no idea about this study, it'd kind of be interesting. If we took a 25-year-old today and said, how much do you pay monthly on apps for your cell phone? Like my parents had a phone and propane gas and a mortgage and electricity for the well, right? That's the 4 bills they had. Today, you're hit, and it goes out automatically. So if we took a 25-year-old today and said, what are you spending a month on just your cell phone and the apps? I guarantee you it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars for most of them. And they don't even see the money go out. It just gets gone. All the music apps we have, the Prime, the Netflix, all that stuff is just hitting you. Well, you used to have an antenna. But see, we got smart. You make wealth through subscription programming. So they have to program you to sign up for a subscription so they can hit that account every single month. So if we reverse that on people and say what'd you say, $118 or whatever, $178 automatically every month sucked out of my account into a life insurance policy, eventually that will be your own bank. See, if we reverse the way we're programmed and just flip it where we are the bank and we are sucking money out for our benefit, your whole world changes. And I don't need to wait. I like that money coming in. I don't need to wait till I get old and retired. I like that money coming in every single month too. It makes me a lot happier right now. You said, wait, the people are happier when they get older. Nah, I'm happier when it comes in right now too, every month.
Hey, Glenn, I have a quick question.
Well said, Daniel. You nailed it.
I have a quick question. Can you do something for like your grandchildren who are 2, 5, something as small as $25?
Well, the answer is yes. And that's a great question, because somewhere in this book is called we have a concept called the $1 million baby. And what that says, here we go. This is a slide that we'll put up in the class. But the $1 million baby concept says that in this country, you can literally guarantee that a child or a newborn child or newborn grandchild is a millionaire by retirement age, which we'll just call 67. And in one of these scenarios, I really like this one. You can't do it with $25 a month, but here's a very realistic example. Let's say a child is born and you open up an account for him with $2,500, okay? And you put in $250 a month for 4 years. So that's a total of $14,500, not $140,000, just $14,000 in an account that's earning, I think it's 9% compounded interest annually. That's going to grow to be $1 million at age 67. So to answer your question, Bonnie, yes, there are places you can start an account for a newborn child or grandchild to get them started and get compounding working on their behalf over their lifetime. But it's just a matter of awareness and doing it. Mm-hmm. Because what's information without action? It's nothing. So great question. We actually have a chapter devoted to that exact question called the $1 million baby. So the answer is yes.
The only rule that I know that is live birth of 6 months. So the baby has to be 6 months old. I had to wait 6 months and a day before I could do I think it's $100 a month or something for Strauss. So, so when the whole reason why I set it up was obviously there's some living benefits to it if he got sick or hospitalized, stayed in hospital 24 hours, that kind of stuff. But the flip side to it is when he's 16 years old, it should be worth somewhere around 20 grand. Maybe it'll be a little bit more, maybe it'll be a little less. But I figured that'll be the cost of the cheapest car I can buy him probably in that time with the way things are going.
Yeah.
So, safe car that works halfway. So that's why I did it. Or he could take that money and use it for college. Or he could take that money and do whatever. Or I can keep the money because it's my money. That might be what happens too. So, but it's based on him.
Grandparents can do this for grandkids. Parents can do it for kids. It's just a matter of taking action.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. This has been so informative, and I cannot wait till next week to dive into it even more.
Great.
True.
Looking forward as well.
Anybody have any questions before he jumps off? Type them into the chat. Speak up. Forever hold your peace. And then we've got to hear your story, man, because as soon as I start talking about you, we'll do that maybe real briefly next week. What did you say? Just here's the teaser of it. Was it 2 months, 3? How long were you in the hospital?
I was in the ICU last fall for 96 days. Not 9.6, 96.
We're talking to a walking freaking miracle.
Miracle.
Yes.
Well, literally, it's a miracle I'm on this call. Could have died 3 separate times. And just the stats that I've heard about the carnage and the death in the ICU last year were stunning. And I was told that I was one of 5 people in that whole year of 2021 who went through the entire COVID protocol, including remdesivir and the ventilator, and left the hospital.
It's amazing.
It just almost brings me to tears. And I had coffee about 6 weeks ago with one of my favorite ICU nurses, Lucas Urea, who saved my life on October 16th. And he said, nobody looks like you. He said, nobody who left that hospital looks like you. He was a former Army medic in Afghanistan. And he said the ICU during COVID was worse. Just the body count was worse than war. So wow. My faith was always good. Now it's over the top My mindset is incredible, and I'm just thank God I'm here. I mean, literally, thank God I'm here talking to you guys today.
Well, we're going to talk again on next Wednesday morning, if it all works out, 10 a.m., same spot, same link. Do it. We'll do a whole 30, 45 minutes on that. I've known Glenn's wife just a little bit, but I started seeing pictures of him months and months ago on Facebook that they're posting. I had no idea. I don't know the story. I still don't know the whole story. I don't know it. But I'm definitely interested in it, because anybody that comes and beats something like this is it empowers all of us. And that's what this is. 3 things you got to do every day: eat, get motivated, and wash. 3 things you got to do every day. So this is definitely my motivation. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everybody.
I'm out. See you. Bye.
Have a great week.